Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get it already? I just got here. I thought maybe I missed it. I know that from my agenda. I can start. Two shirts. Yeah. I would. I thought you had a water bottle, but just had a, but it was, yeah, but it looked like it was like nothing in the middle. Oh. I'm like, wow, it just carries a little empty bottle. Forum, I talked to Catherine, I know she's.
We got a forum.
Yeah. I have a forum, yeah, that's right. It'll be a funny looking picture though. Now, listen. Good looking face. Oh, elementary school. Yeah, a question.
It's just we have facilities. Community meetings.
We have specific questions. If we need them. If we think that's true, we should raise it. And so policy can be.
Yeah.
Maybe Julie's phone. With that.
You remember the facilities we talked about this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do
We
you?
don't have Alzheimer's yet.
Oh, good. I just heard you.
They next. We didn't determine that our current funds are satisfactory, and that we would really face the price, so that we would have to get in this.
No.
Yeah.
I remember it was.
No, you don't officially start till 6:15, so. I succeeded that little bit. What's that?
I don't remember.
We can go ahead and get ourselves lined up for the picture, then when the next two come in, we can just slide, set them right in the spot.
Yeah,
How's that?
and we can Photoshop them in.
We can Photoshop them in. I couldn't, but I'm betting somebody could, somebody in that art department already. I think it worked well when we were in front of the bookcases last time.
That's,
And
that's be a good look,
Yeah.
because it makes us look really smart.
We'll always make people that intelligent.
They had heard of it.
And Callie can be on one end, and then we'll put the rest of our folks. Yeah. What's that? Just in case we need them. Yeah. We're a little bit closer. Closer, yeah, and we might have to turn sideways just a little.
I knew that would be extended.
this way.
I mean, he looks fine, but some of us.
But yeah, well, I always turn a little bit, yeah, so like you could get over there, like that's perfect, Pat. And the other thing I learned, that if I hide part of my body and copy someone else, I'll do it. Now all we need is,
And the hill.
yeah.
Well, Bethany and I are here in case you.
We could have you guys stand in and we just put their faces
Yeah.
on your bodies.
Yeah. Or you could call her machine.
Or you could apply to
Whoever's
run.
taller is that. I think you're taller. Okay. So that makes me happy. Okay. Whoever's
So
taller.
you mentioned you're gonna come to school tomorrow. I am. See some new teacher stuff going on.
Well, actually, Cheryl asked me if I would come sometime to do that. One time.
Okay, good. Awesome.
And,
Get into the long-term substitute business, which will be very nice to get our new counselor acclimated from NIAM.
Right, yeah.
They do have career and college aspirations as part of their role. They will have a district email and all the same obligations that they do, which I think is nice.
So, no, and that. We can just both hide in the hall when they're there. So we're not
Share
sure.
everything.
Not sure of it. No, we're not sure. We're counseling, but we're not-
That's clear.
This is first. At
That's
some point in time.
Good meeting.
And only you, first person to get in there gets what? Your John King, or is it so? Thank you. Oh, wait, not like the school nurse, no, they get some like broccoli or something.
Yes, yes.
No candy, no candy.
Unsweetened applesauce.
That's what we're in.
My kids, that's what we got. It's really good. Like, it's the normal sugar. If it's an actress, they just don't add any extra sugar. Don't worry, I like chocolate here too. Okay, okay. Dark chocolate. Okay. We're ready.
Fine. You're ready. I hear voices, that's a good sign. Friends, we'll snap a picture real quick before you sit down.
Oh, okay. Let's do that. Oh, I'm sitting next to Pat today, look at me.
Present.
I guess you're sitting next to me, what was time sandwich between you and Pat? Boy, how about that?
That was. All right, folks. Let's fit in front of all that. Come over here, girl, up, yeah. Picture. Come on over here, since we're trying to center on this, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
We get Dr. Schultz in the middle, and then if you turn sideways, a little bit like this, I think we'll.
Really short, don't I?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, perfect, yeah,
Right up here.
yes,
I should be like.
yes, and like that, over that chin like that, yeah, there. Better. Yeah. All right, Jose. How do we look?
Just say it looks good. Don't say anything other than
Keep that to yourself.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, just from the waist up.
Yeah, don't get her.
Don't get her.
Bye.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are bossy. I just giggling, I love it. I'm not alone.
Thanks, buddy. You can email that to me, superintendent@charlestonschools.org. Or to Lisa, that would be even better, because she's gonna post it on the website for us.
You're over here, Josh.
I know, I'm just getting myself.
I
so you guys
just
can
looked
walk
at the
through.
labels.
What's that?
I looked at the labels. They did the labels.
Yeah, I'm getting all those, you guys can sit down.
Okay. Okay.
That was started.
We will. We will call the meeting to order with a roll call vote. Okay, no, we have the reading. Call the meeting to order, and now we have the reading of the district mission and vision statement, which I will read. Our mission to challenge all students to achieve their full potential through engaging, responsive educational experiences that inspire innovation, critical thinking, and collaboration. Our vision to develop learners who are competent, compassionate problem solvers. Our operating principles: information for one is information for all. No surprises, verify facts, think ahead, disagree, explain your thinking, and then commit. Now we'll have
President Rittenhouse,
here.
Vice President Fox. Here. Board Member Berglund,
Here.
Board Member Dr. Schultz,
Here.
and Board Member Mack.
Yep, here.
This time, does anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I don't have any corrections. I just have one quick question. So like when you read the mission and vision, typically we would have like a, you know, like if you have another item, like the consent agenda would say like recommendation.
Mhm.
Do we have a part for that that would have like who's gonna do it?
We can put it on there,
Oh,
but we
okay.
forgot.
Oh, okay, that's why I was there. I was like.
I
just trying to
I
figure out
noticed
the-
that. Under the reading of the district mission and vision,
Okay,
we can add the name onto that.
is it somebody different every time?
Yes, we don't. We've spoken about.
Okay.
Well, I get it this time.
You can just go right down and then go.
It's supposed to be me, but I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't work, so. Yeah, I just didn't think
That's
about
fine.
it until
Yeah.
after the agenda was out, and
Okay.
then I thought, well, and I didn't know if everybody would get over to see that it was written in there.
Oh, yeah, I just didn't, I was trying to figure out how we.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do
Okay, great, thanks. Okay.
So if you click on the agenda, there is a recommendation there, so
Yeah, I
no
make,
additions or corrections. So,
I make a motion to approve their board agenda. Sorry.
been moved and seconded to approve the board agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No. Motion passes 5-0. Are there any visitors here for public comment tonight? Seeing none, I am not going to read that. Motion to approve the consent agenda items as listed.
So just so I understand, that's the vendor agreements, the meeting minutes. Committee reports.
The bills, the financials, and the bills and the personnel report,
And you guys can,
not the committee report.
you guys can always table one of them if you wanted to, or deny one of them as well.
Um,
And this is a slightly different organizational pattern than we've used in the past, but we do have Callie's almost 2 decades of experience and a new board policy that we're utilizing to be a bit more straightforward and more in line with what we would expect at IASB. So it's slightly different, but I think that it matches better with the expectations.
Then I make a motion to approve the consent agenda items as.
Moved and seconded to approve the following consent agenda items as listed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Consent agenda approved 5-0. Committee reports. Facility.
Facilities met, I don't recall the day, but we met in response to the policy committee wanting to raise fees for use of the facilities. And they asked the facilities committee to look at whether our current restrictions were adequate or if we had any suggestions for changes. So we did meet, discuss the facilities restrictions that we have in place, felt that they were appropriate and made no changes.
Thank you. Policy. We've been working on the policies. Tonight we'll have the second reading of several of them, and we will start the process of reviewing all of the policies with the first half of the 200 series, which is the duties of the board.
May I add, President,
Sure.
Madam President, if I may add, we did also talk, while the facilities committee agreed we didn't want any changes in the restrictions, they did agree that we would raise the prices for our facilities more in line with our neighboring districts. And then there is one other thing we talked about. There is a policy whereby we will not send checks and approve payments prior to having the board approve each of those. That's a pretty significant change in the policy, and for that reason, the urgency of changing that policy, you'll see that we're asking for you to make that change in a single reading rather than 2 readings. And again, that is our new director's comfort level for having you sanction the checks before she signs them and sends them out. And again, more in line with state of Iowa's requirements and Iowa Association of School Boards. Normally, we take 2 readings. One is acceptable. And in fact, you don't even have to have a policy committee meeting to be within the law. We like to have those extra restrictions in place, but just so you know, that's not typical, that we would approve it in 1.
Okay, that's great. All right. And equity and achievement. We had a meeting on Friday and we discussed changes to the Project Rise program, the fact that Mr. Caffrey is leaving and how that would be changed, and that they were going to take a restorative practices approach to at-risk students, and Project Rise would be a part, or could be a part of that. And it will be considered more like a club rather than throughout the day, but some of it will happen during the day, during the advisory periods. Or if the food truck comes to bring, North Iowa Food Bank comes, the kids will still be able to get out of class to unload that truck and things like that.
A little bit more control on it than
Right.
we had in the past.
More
So,
boundaries.
yeah, more boundaries that will keep our students in class a greater portion of the day, if possible. And of course, if it's not, then of course we have some support we can provide for them.
And we also discussed possibly some changes to requirements at the high school. that correct? Yes, and so, I'm sure we're gonna hear about that some more in the next few weeks.
Yes, right. And again, just looking at from a systems level, what makes sense, what are some of the barriers for our students compared to neighboring districts, compared to the requirements at the state level. And our new high school principal is taking that head on, because we are very discrepant in our requirements as compared to other districts.
Right, and as I understand it, it's not the core class assignments, it's the number of electives, correct? Because everyone in the state of Iowa has to have 4 English credits, 4 full English credits, 3 social studies, 3 science, and 3 math. So it's just the number of electives that we've been requiring is discrepant. So, like you said, Mr. Bliss is right on that and looking at that. Any questions? Okay. Administrators, director, and superintendent report. First, we have the administrator director report, which is Dana. Oh, and I think Mariah.
We're gonna do a tutorial.
I
You
know,
good with that?
right.
Woo, look at you like, oh, man.
I like your answer email though.
My very candid email of like, hey guys. You want, which one's gonna put that out? Here you go. Okay, so I set these up already, so you have to use the email that I have on here. Okay. Just so you know. I don't know where it's thinking it was part of the job in there.
Done more, it's over.
But it's okay now.
Yeah.
Not the Charles,
Oh,
you know what I mean? You
Yep.
have to make it
the shorter one.
the shorter one.
What do I do with this?
You need to follow directions. We could have.
That's what I'm saying.
So you do have your passing. Okay, so,
Yes, you're here.
yeah.
It's like good.
No, I like it. It's better. No, much better than mine.
So this is in the board meeting agenda also, so anybody at home can find this and follow along, but this front page is just totally informational. I like how Dr. Throat has already flipped it open.
That's good.
What a great student.
Something ahead.
So if you have an iPhone, go to your app store. If you have an Android, go to Google Play. And then you're going to search for the app called Bound. And it will have that like a bee that looks like it has an arrow to it. It's kind of a wonky looking bee. It looks like this. If you find that in your app store. So this was posted on Facebook also. On the meeting minutes, we will have them available at all of the first events of every new season. And we will be there with extra people, extra hands, trying to help people out. But you find the Bound app and download it. And then you want to hit get started and make sure that you use the email I gave you. At charlestonschools.org. And the reason for anybody in the public, the only reason is because I've already set you guys up with passes, and that's the email that I used. So when you buy a pass, make sure that you use the exact same email address as what you set Bound up with. Well, what some people are doing is they have a Bound account on their phone from before, but then they're purchasing it and they're putting in something else. And so they can't find their tickets. So you make sure you use the exact same email. This is great.
use whatever password they want.
You want to use the password to your account, yes, your email account. Well, unless are you just now setting it up? Register with your information.
No, I don't think I can remember that.
Who else was gonna be?
She said in the email, remember? She said, well, ID.
Yeah, him too. Yeah, anyway,
If you don't, we can come back and do this at another time. We will have some, I'll hold a multi-tiered system of support for you.
Okay. I don't know if I've changed my.
All your own 12-year-olds.
Actually, you want to know what? This is legitimately the only problem that we have had. When people have come in, it is, people just don't remember the password, or they say, hey, I have it written down at home.
This is my saved email. This is my saved password, but it's not working. So,
Okay, here's what I want you to just try.
did you go to register or did you try to create it? You gotta click on the top 3 at the top. That's why it says right now. For all the instructions.
register. Okay. Okay, got it.
We're connected to the Wi-Fi. Here you go.
I turned off because I was going to school.
Waiting for them.
Is it schools.org or school?
City Schools with an S.org.
I spelled my name wrong.
That's not gonna work.
If you spell your own name wrong, it doesn't work either.
Are you able to see how many we have registered to the program so far?
Yeah.
How many do we have?
As far as activity passes,
Like, have we
we,
seen an uptick of people using this compared to the paper route?
yeah, no. I looked it up. So last year there was $11,000 in activity pass sales throughout the entire year.
Okay.
Right now, we're at just under 5,000.
So a lot of people using the site. Well,
So schools are required to submit their stats using this app. So coaches and activity directors, players and parents have been using it honestly for years. It can kind of be a headache a bit to coaches because it shows stats. And so if you're a stat warrior, it can get a little consuming, which is not what it's all supposed to be about, but. So how are you doing there? You getting registered?
I don't, I must not have any Wi-Fi or anything. Usually I don't need it. But that's all right, you proceed. I'll catch up.
What's the best way to, I wish I could show this on the meeting. But when you open up the app, you're gonna hit get started. There's the 3 lines in the upper right-hand corner that Director Mack already found, and you're going to select register. You'll put in all of your own information. Then you will get to a screen where you want to choose that you're looking for a school in Iowa. There are 6 maybe different states that it represents. I can't remember off the top of my head. You want to find Charles City, our school. And then, oh, look at that.
Here we got it.
And then
I can't
you
tell you. Yes.
can choose the notifications that you wish to receive. So if you are a fan of a specific sport, you can click the notifications of that one single sport or event. You can click multiple, you can click them all, whatever you want to do. So you find the ones that are of interest to you. So when I look at mine and when anybody looks at theirs, the first thing that they are going to see is this screen. If you have it set to Charles City. Okay, I don't know, like. That's not gonna. So you're gonna see this, it's gonna come up as Charles City. It's gonna show you everything that's going on. It's gonna show you the schedule of events. If you want to know what a certain.
Can you do a screen share with that? Is that connected to a computer? You should be able to do a screen share. With Bluetooth?
Yeah, let me see, hold on.
I will say I followed these directions and in less than 5 minutes, I was able to do it just sitting at my desk. I think maybe when Friday night, whenever you share it with me. It was very easy. Again, though, if you're struggling with your connectivity, something like that.
That's
might be a
maybe.
problem, but it is very easy to follow.
Can I screen share and what would I screen share?
What the
No. Okay. I'm gonna say,
I don't think this one is set up. I think you could if you were at my house. We'll go on to that.
Were we supposed to?
But
the nice thing is with the instructions that I put, yeah,
they have pictures.
Mariah,
yes,
come tell me where I'm at.
okay, yeah, you're at the notifications part.
Yep, so if you want to know any notifications, if you want to know anything about it, you go on to,
Can you change that later?
yeah, you can change it later.
Okay,
So press done in the corner. Okay, that's all, that's what she's seeing right now, so go on to the
Perfect.
profile picture.
Okay, so
And
then
then-
we'll go. I don't think I have one more. So go down here to your profile
It wouldn't do it.
and then click tickets.
Tickets.
Okay, click on one.
Oh, basically.
There you go. Look at you.
So you just go onto the app and you just show it,
Or you can use this.
or you can use that.
This will come up. Okay.
No, you have to go.
Oh, yeah, you have
Go
to
through
go
that process.
So so go on to the whole thing.
So you gotta do, that.
And then get out of the screen, like, go back to.
Oh.
And you're your person to find a ticket.
You got it.
Okay. Just do what? I can just up here.
The profile.
So what do you do with this? Is that what you just said?
I'm gonna put it on my head.
No.
I'm not-
This and that are the same thing.
They're the exact same thing. So this is what's on your phone, but if you want to come in to the activity department, we will print you a paper copy and laminate it. No, it doesn't, but Sam, if you want to pick Sam. So you can bring this in. If you don't have your phone with you or you're that person that doesn't like bringing it, let us know. We will give you this. Whenever you sign up for a ticket,
Yeah.
it's associated to your email. So what actually I've been noticing a lot of people want to do is they receive the email and then they screenshot it on their phone so that that QR code comes up in their photos.
Much easier, quicker.
Much easier and quicker for them. For the rest of you, now that, those of you that do have an account ready to go, I just want to show you that this is where you're at, right? Mr. Mack, I'm gonna walk you through this if that's okay, because I know yours works.
Yeah, what do you want me to do?
I want you to go to the upper right-hand corner. There's a little ticket emblem.
Yeah,
Where are we supposed to be at?
Go to the homepage and then click on the ticket on the right-hand top corner.
yeah. You wanna look? Looks like a ticket. Yeah, I clicked that. Hold on.
Yep.
There you go. Yep.
And then you see where it says activity pass?
Mhm.
Click buy now.
Mhm.
And you could purchase any other additional type of pass that you need to.
Oh,
Student, adult, additional senior passes,
Punches.
punches.
So let's say somebody's really smart and they print this up and then they have the app and they give this to their spouse or child. And they go to the game and they scan it and then they show up with their.
Yep,
Yes.
yes. So every time that they'll come to,
Validate, it's gonna say.
it,
used.
yep,
click on that.
it will say that it's used
For that event.
for that event.
Yes.
And
So you
then
can only go into that event
one time with that one QR code.
So like go to school.
So like at JV games, varsity games, will somebody have to leave and then re-come back?
Nope. So if you were coming in,
okay.
I would now hit tap at gate,
And then,
and then you have one ticket here.
Right.
If a family bought 4 of them, it will show up that says, like this one says faculty pass. It might say adult, adult, student, student. the whole family carries around the exact same QR code. But whoever's walking in the door, it's our responsibility as ticket takers to say, okay, who's here? He's here, he's here, she's here. They still have one they still have one open pass available. And dad comes in a little while later, he has it on his phone. We look at the exact same QR code, we take a picture of it, and it says that there's one ticket for admission still remaining.
Oh.
Yes.
The other question I have is, this has stats on it.
Yep.
Well, and it had has our activities in like our schedule, so I will pick
Mhm.
football because it has the times of the games. Will it show on here like what the score is and all that?
Yep,
So who updates that?
it won't show during the game.
Oh, okay.
It shows afterwards, the coaches, it's been their responsibility for years to fill this out.
Okay.
If you are someone who has family at another place, go to this toggle switch beneath and you can pick a different school. If you know of a niece or nephew or
Sure.
somebody else that's someone,
Done.
it's done. So, Mariah and I have been holding little open house sessions.
I heard about these.
We struggled the first one, but we're getting better. You know, it's new for all of us on this aspect of it. We're gonna have another one tomorrow from 9 to 11 in the high school office. And then obviously at any time, just call or email. Anybody can give us a shout out and we will walk them through how to get this all done. But you guys should have your passes right there on your phone and the laminated copy. We had Mrs. Simerson came in, she got her laminated copy right before the meeting. She was very happy about that.
So you do that for anyone that wants?
We will do that for anybody.
Like a mini laminator?
We just cut out we're very resourceful. We just cut out the part that we need.
Yeah, so like a stick one, it's not like a hot laminate. Like it's.
Oh, whatever.
It's your pieces and it goes.
Two pieces. There's a very precise art teacher that helped with that. So,
Scotch tape.
Yeah, I just put a piece of scotch tape on it. I was sticking on my phone like that.
there you go. All right, any questions that you have about it?
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Well done.
Very well. Oh, wow.
Okay, superintendent report.
Yes, have quite a few things to share. We had 4 NEIC baseball players named to the All Northeast Iowa Conference team. Reed Peters, Lincoln Jocelyn were named to the first team. Malachi O'Brien and Katie Blunt named to the second team. You will recall we haven't met for 1 month, so it's a little bit lengthy while we're wrapping up some of the summer events as well as starting into fall already. 3 student athletes were selected for the All NEIC softball first team: Ava Ellis, Lauren Stout, and Alex Woolworth. 9 officers from the Charles City FFA chapter participated in the Officers Leadership Retreat, July 9th through 11th at the Roadhouse Retreat in Decorah. Students participate in numerous leadership development experiences alongside the new CCHS teacher, Michelle Dolman and Brett Spurgeon. The project is moving along on a timeline for our NIACC facility. As you know, that's our regional career center. They're going to be located in the Union for the duration of the project. So if you go to the NIAC Center, you're going to find it's roped up and sealed off. You can no longer go in there. But you can still reach the staff at their same phone numbers if needed. Brian Wogan will be scheduling meetings with various staff to gear up for staffing and recruitment activities. And Brian and I will host all of the participating school partners in a meeting in the next 2 weeks. New staff engaged in various pre-service meetings last Thursday and Friday in preparation for the year ahead. All staff will return to work tomorrow to officially kick off the year. The contemplated bench donated by the class of 1985 was installed recently in honor of classmates and fellow common graduates who have passed or who have struggled with mental illness. The artist, Molly Barrett, class of 85, designed the structure she titled Time Stamp. It will be officially dedicated during the homecoming festivities on Friday, September 15th.
Will the artist be here?
Yes,
Okay.
as well as a number of other representatives from the class of 85. The administrative team attended the School Administrators of Iowa Annual Conference earlier this month, gathered valuable information on numerous topics that will support our improvement initiatives throughout the buildings. Our CCHS FFA chapter made news again as they were named the finalists for the Premier Chapter Building Communities Award at the Veteran Yard for the Veteran Yard Sign project they completed last fall. National organization recognizes the top chapters with innovative activities in 3 categories: growing leaders, building communities, and strengthening agriculture. The top 10 chapters in each receive a plaque. And in September, 1 will be chosen and recognized at the National Convention in November. To put this into perspective, there are nearly 9,000 FFA chapters in the country and only 30 are chosen as finalists. Congratulations to our high school FFA. Also relative to the FFA program, 5 students will be receiving their American FFA awards at the National Convention in November. This distinction is the highest degree receivable and reflects their skills in the supervised agricultural experiences, leadership activities, and community involvement, which is earned by less than 1% of all FFA members in the nation. Congratulations to Lauren Connell, Marissa Daniels, Sarah Mitchell, Carl Ziska, Drew Stout for this accomplishment. Landon Luff, CCHS graduate for the class of 2021, has received the gold rating for his agricultural mechanics repair and maintenance proficiency from the National FFA organization. Landon was the state winner last spring and moved on to achieve gold at the national level.
I just want to correct. It's Kale, Cael Rosiska, but I was wrong on Facebook too, so,
Thank you.
but it is Kale.
I'll make that change. Thank you for that. What's going well at the system level? I will be sharing with you on a monthly basis and sometimes twice per month some of the new and exciting things that we have going on in our district. As you are aware, I will be requesting your approval to hire an orchestra teacher as part of tonight's agenda. Christian Paulson is an experienced musician who spent many years throughout Iowa teaching at the middle and high school levels. In 2012, Mr. Paulson relocated to Arizona, where he continued to direct music programs until returning to southern Minnesota in recent years. It was our good fortune to have made a connection to Christian through our mutual friend, Nancy Western, which has subsequently led to his recommendation for hire. Christian has been described as a gifted educator with a keen ability to provide outstanding instrumental music education while building strong, nurturing relationships with learners that ultimately serve as the foundation for the success of his programs. This was truly an answer to my prayers with our late resignation, and I just wanted to call out the fact that our music program is intact and we are continuing with every single program we had 1 year ago. So that's quite a celebration. That's all I have.
And what's the union? Union House. The Union House. Yeah. Okay. Building, I mean, do we know when the NIAC construction will be completed?
Yes, it's supposed to be, and it is on schedule. It's supposed to be in the spring of next year,
Okay.
April. They propose a fall opening, and it may, if it continues ahead of schedule, although we know there's some rough weather coming, it could be a little bit earlier. We thought it wise to wait and start a fresh new school year rather than try and, piece together a semester for folks.
Thank you, Ann. New business. Resolution for ordering an election on the issuance of 28 million, I'm sorry. cursor was on the way, $500 million in general obligations. 528,500,000.
Okay, great. Sure, you're right.
Who would like to talk about this? We have our signatures, obviously.
How many should we get home, you know?
Just under 600.
Fantastic.
I did count approximately 12 duplicates, and I didn't enter any of those that I confirmed were not in the district boundaries. And so the last count was 582.
The auditor's office have, or wherever they're.
Actually, there will be, your school business official by Iowa law will be taking that information to the auditor.
You don't need the signatures, so don't,
We have to keep them to be inspected at any time.
but I will make copies of my balance. Only once. Request that easily, I don't have to write it down, but I will bring this.
And I have it also in an Excel spreadsheet, which is how I double check for replications by first name, last name, nickname, or address.
And then what's the date of our election? November
7.
7th. Okay. Do we have to read any of these
Yeah, I'm not
attachments?
sure what.
No, you just have to approve the
You
resolution.
just have to read the, do that motion.
If people have questions about the bond and the renovations, where should they go?
They can contact me at superintendent@charlescityschools.org or at our district office, 257-6500. I will respond to everyone within 24 hours, and I have a full set of resources available, which I'm sure you've all had a chance to look at charlescitybond.org. You can also locate charlescitybond.org by going to the main page of our webpage and scrolling down to the bottom where you see a picture of our high school entrance and referendum information. Click there. We've just completed and are in the process of uploading our third informational sheet with some basic talking points on what folks will be receiving for the 19.5. They seem to understand well what the auditorium would be like at the 28.5 million, but they still had some questions about what the other balance of the funds would pay for. So we have that one pager coming out literally as we speak. We also have a simplified sheet for tax impact and then a simplified sheet for the overall scope of the project. We will have very soon 10 short 1-minute videos where Jerry Mitchell and his team have walked around and been videotaped. It's being professionally edited so that individuals who may not be familiar with some of the key challenges in our infrastructure will be able to see firsthand what some of those challenges are. We also have the full detailed tax impact statement if people want to look through that. We also have the full 1-hour video presentation that Gillespie provided for us at the end of May last year. That video is there as well, as is the floor plan. I will say one of the questions that I've received 2 or 3 times is about parking. And I think that that's because the floor plan drawing, it's really not a floor plan, but it will give you the schematic for the changes. It's quite colorful. You can see where the auditorium is. What's not clear is that we're only losing on the front of the building 20 parking spaces. So I asked the architect and the communication specialist to, if that's going to be a parking lot, then to make that gray, because unfortunately that's been confusing. And folks that have questioned, they've all questioned parking of all the things to question. And so we will have additional parking where the bus loop is, and there will be additional parking out where the front of the building is now. And I asked them to update that colorful floor plan so it would reflect that gray parking area.
I also would like to, since it's supposed to be 103 degrees the first day of school, I challenge the community to come up here to the high school and feel what that feels like. And by Friday, it will be horrible. So I just want to challenge the community to do that. Okay, fair motion?
Well, I guess before I make any motion, I would like to thank everybody that has actively gone out and sought signatures, because you know that alone is a process, and there were conversations that were had from our constituents and just wanting to make sure that they knew what they were signing. So I appreciate all that and feeling optimistic. Hopefully people get their questions answered and have the information to make the decision that works for them. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution ordering an election and the issuance of food. You already read that, so I just have a second or make a motion.
Right.
I'll make a motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution ordering an election and the issuance of 28,500,000 general obligation school bonds. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0. Next one is the section 504 handbook.
Yes, and this is a simple guide that will assist families as well as educators and our administration in fully complying with section 504, an obligation to provide for students a learning environment that is allows them full access. We're most often familiar with special education and IDEA. However, a section 504 plan is sometimes necessary for students who might have a condition that would not obligate them to go for IDEA, but which could inhibit their access to the curriculum and to their education. Sometimes 504s plans are time bound. So you can imagine someone who might have undergone significant surgery, for example. This is separate and different than a health plan for a student that may have some ongoing health needs. So I recommend that you adopt this to be in full compliance with Iowa code, and that we can then house it on our website and make copies available to students, families, educators, or others who may need access.
If we had this in the past, this new.
This is not new, but it is new to this district, to my knowledge. We don't have one. But with this one, then we'll be in full compliance with Iowa code.
Where did we get that?
I wrote it this summer, but I have many good resources from the State Department of Education and from the ADA. This is common language that you'll see in most every school. So it was not a difficult project. It's very clear on how a student is eligible and what the process might be. So it was.
I just wondered if it came from some other ISB.
We have a point person at the AEA who was an expert, and he gave me all of the sample forms and so on. And I had questions, he was able to respond. Okay. And you'll probably want to update this handbook annually, like you do the other handbooks, in light of some of the legislation that might change, but
I was excited to see this.
I am too.
I used to be the 504 coordinator in high school, and I had nothing to go on except what I could dig up. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the section 504 handbook as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the section 504 handbook as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed say no. Handbook's approved 5-0. Custodian and driver substitute pay.
I'm making a motion to approve custodian and driver substitute pay. The custodian substitute pay from $14.04 to $18.57, and the driver substitute pay from $18.05 to $18.75.
It's been moved and seconded to approve custodian and driver substitute pay. Custodian substitute pay from $14.04 to $18.57. And driver, I'm assuming that's buses and whatever vehicle, driver substitute pay $18.25 to $18.75. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0. Activity fund transfers.
So before we do this one, I have a couple questions on the activity fund balance sheet that you sent. So some of the accounts, and I'll pick on one specific one, page 2, class of 2020 restricted. They have $6,589.75 in revenues, which obviously is something they brought money in.
So we need to figure out if we can move that or not, I just haven't gotten any clear.
But if I'm understanding this, revenue was something they generated
So
this
it's like
year,
prom and stuff like that.
And
but for 2020.
yes,
Yeah,
and
so
then
it
they
just stayed
didn't
in
have
there,
prom
so- Yeah, so like
because of COVID.
when your classes, like, so in my past experiences, we would just move that to the new year.
My question is, the revenues are showing for this fiscal year.
Yes, because they're a fund balance.
But they would have generated 2 years ago. Right?
Yep, because they stayed in that balance.
Okay.
Yep.
So I would describe it as a little bit of cleanup
Okay,
Yeah.
on
yeah,
things like the German club, which hasn't existed for quite some time.
right, and so it's like, just trying to understand like how we got to this point, which is obviously all prior to you, because it just doesn't make any sense, but now I understanding of it, so, okay, thank you.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the transfer of $39,267.42 from the general fund balance to the activity fund balance to clean up the negative balance. I also make a motion to, we gotta do the one time, right?
You can do both, it doesn't
Okay,
matter.
and I make a motion to approve the closing of the FCCLA with $14.22 and the German club account with $2,590.17, moving the money to the athletic account.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the transfer of $39,267.42 from the general fund balance to the activity fund balance to clean up the negative balance, and to approve the closing of the account FCCLA with $14.22 and the German club account with $2,590.17, and moving the money to the athletic account.
Yeah, the main general. fund
General.
account.
That's the old name for
Okay.
that account, and then we'll subsequently change it to activity.
Okay.
No,
all right.
we don't, we
No?
changed it, but.
Oh, we changed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we cleaned up all the account names as well.
All right. So is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0.
Yeah, okay, so I guess it's the answer, she's just waiting. What are you gonna do?
Did we
Bethany?
pass Bethany up?
I didn't see me on there, but I'm still happy that.
Yeah.
they did
So
something.
you're in the
She's
personal.
patiently waiting. and-
You're in the personnel part, Bethany.
Oh,
That was approved.
Well,
thank you, guys.
That
Have a
makes
great
great
night.
sense. It's about a new position. Thank you.
That's right.
You wanna come up and read this to us?
Absolutely. I was gonna do a PowerPoint and then I got too busy. That husband has been needing me a lot for other things. So, well, I'm Bethany Bjorklund. I am one of 2 school nurses for the district. It's my 3rd year here. I have been invited to talk and to inform you and also the public about a new position the district recently had posted. It's called the Special Education Medicaid Coordinator. This position will be funded 100% with special education funds. So it's not general education, it's not at risk, it's not anything else but special education. So I'll kind of explain a little bit more about that. What is school-based Medicaid? I'll explain to you what our future goals are. We have a lot of improvement. I've been working real closely with Dr. Lundquist and Callie on coming up with some good solutions that are smart, financially stable, but also legally we're meeting those requirements of this program. So the first thing is, what is school-based Medicaid? I just have a short little thing in there. Medicaid is a federal state cost sharing benefit program for health and medically necessary services for low-income individuals. And when we think of low income, I also think about, what does our community look like here in Charles City? We have a 19% poverty rate. The state average is about 11 or 12%. So right there, you might ask really good questions on, this seems a little higher, or this is quite a bit. You also have to look at what's in your community and who are we serving. That's a statistic I think is very impactful for this program, but this is for covered medical services provided to Medicaid enrolled children with special health care needs on their individualized education program, so the IEP. So this is stuff that is an IEP, a team decision. These are services that no matter what, whether a child has Medicaid or not, they're still going to receive it. But schools have the ability to choose to bill Medicaid for services for students who are eligible, and also meet other requirements. Medicaid will also only reimburse what they say they will reimburse you. So we can't say because we passed a medication, that's our rate. It's just whatever is set for your agency. And also AEAs can do this, and local education agencies, which that's what we are. So AEAs can, and we can as well. Public schools can do this. So this is a public school service that we can opt into. We can claim for IEP services for nursing and health services. So when you added in another nurse for this district, you're going to see that on the backside, the financial impact for adding in another nurse, increasing our capacity for our students. We can bill for our own individualized health plans. So monitoring, assessing, measuring goals, delegation, training, medications and procedures. Procedures such as tube feedings, we have catheterizations, we have very highly skilled medical things here that us nurses would love to be doing and seeing over training and delegating to health paraprofessionals. We have behavioral services that require paraprofessional support. So that's in a behavior intervention plan. Transportation, attendant, and mileage. So that also helps support our transportation costs. We have specialized transportation. We also have students who attend schools outside of Charles City, such as River Hills, Pinecrest, Lead Center. We even have a student that open enrolls that they do the paperwork, we scan it, we claim it. That's ours because they're in our district. So there, it goes beyond just Charles City. It's our students that are at other locations. We collaborate together to make sure that that's done. Medical supplies, gloves, cups, diapers, wipes, whatever our students need. Something this year that we're going to be working toward that we could use this funding for is we have students that are starting to grow up and get bigger. And so when they get past 50 pounds, we don't have 2 staff to safely lift and transport these students. We need to start talking about Hoyer lifts. What do we need to do to be safe for these students? And this is funding that this program can bring in to provide those supports for our students and staff. Also, we can do summer school services. So any of these items above, if a student's here for summer school and the IEP team writes that in, those are some things that we can also claim as well that are eligible if we are able to do that. The goals that I'm envisioning and is envisioning as health services, as we want to do monthly scanning of claims. Our current state at the capacity that we are at, unfortunately, we've only been able to scan quarterly. We do the best that we can. We got a lot of students to take care of directly, and direct student care will always come first. I will tell you kind of how many open claims we have too on the backside. But we need to be more aware of that continuous flow. How are we doing? Where are we at? That gives Callie a better picture on making sure we can utilize our special education funding in the most financially responsible manner instead of getting big lump sums every quarter. That is something else. We currently do paper billing. I would like to look into electronic billing, but we need somebody to lead that initiative and help us and get those trainings done. The benefit of electronic billing over paper is reimbursement takes about 2 weeks with electronic. With paper, it's 4 to 6 weeks. So there's some other more time saving. And when you submit your information as a para to the nurse in those forms, when you submit it, it is good to go. That electronic billing is good. What I start to discover in the springtime is I get a long list of corrections. I need to fix these. I need to go pull and fix. And that takes time with paper. And that's what happens when you scan quarterly. We do the best we can, but we need to improve this process. We need somebody to continue to increase our knowledge and skills of the federal and state laws. We definitely need to make sure we dot our i's and cross our t's with this program. And like I mentioned, is I'm all about improvement. Let's get better. Let's be more efficient. And the biggest thing is we want to be there as a school nurse. I want to be there providing as much direct services as possible for our students and staff. This would help lighten that load for us to be more present and available for our staff and students. History and background, just a quick thing. The last few years I've been here, nursing has shared the Medicaid responsibilities. We continue to expand our team. We're very excited about that. I feel this program is allowing us to start to have a health presence available at every building this year. We will have 2 nurses and 2 health associates. But there are some things that only nurses can do. We're the only ones that can assess. We're the only ones that can delegate. We're the only ones that can train. We're the only ones that can write those individualized health plans. We're the only ones that can sign off on those Medicaid or my health plan to make sure we're overseeing those services correctly. And when I came here well, this will be my 3rd year, we did a quick audit of how many students are out there that have services in their IEP. And what are we not getting for Medicaid? And we determined it was about $550,000 that we were unable to get because with 1 nurse for 1,550 students that nurse was not at that capacity to do that. So since I came on, we worked really hard. These services, again, were already being provided. We did the work with our families. We wrote those individualized health plans. Now you have 2 nurses for about 90 health plans for the whole district. So we're splitting it up now. And so we were able to meet that goal that we said we are missing this opportunity. And we met that and continue to want to sustain that for the long term for our district. So who could serve in this position? This is a good conversation that we had as a team. It can be a nurse, it could be special education teacher. The downfall is about special education teachers is I feel the state has a hard time already filling those positions. And we came up with a really good win-win for an administrative assistant. Doesn't have to be a nurse, doesn't have to be a special teacher, but we need somebody who is driven and excited and likes spreadsheets and likes the financial sides, but is also very detail oriented. We need somebody, they're going to be reviewing all these claims every month, about 70 of them. And so we need somebody who is very detail oriented. They have the time, they can sit down. And so I think that was a really good win-win that we came up with as a group. You'll look at our gross year-to-date financials throughout the last 3 years. You'll see where we were at that year. We had 38 students enrolled with 1 nurse. We had 2 nurses. We had 60 last year. We had 70 enrolled for 2 nurses. Now, no, these numbers are going to fluctuate and change as the services are determined by the IEP team. But being able to monthly see this, we're going to have a good picture on our future and current state. I also put a fun fact in there that the AEAs and LEAs were able to receive 74 million in federal Medicaid funds through special education. So it is a very, very big program. Most public schools do participate in the Medicaid program. In today's day and age, you need to find opportunities to get funding, especially when you're providing services for students. Regardless, it doesn't matter, but it's an initiative. So again, why is it important? It's going to be great to have 1 person lead this initiative instead of whoever gets there whenever you get to it. We have a good team, but this is a very important position. And we need somebody to be our go-to, to lead our efforts, to make it better. Time efficiency, we're just super excited for that. Again, it's going to be special education funding for this position. And I have a bunch of other things in there, but would you guys like to add anything else to that?
So we have not hired for this position.
We have not, and we're recommending this position Similarly to how we've grown our nursing and health associate pool using Medicaid funds. By adding this additional individual, we can ensure that we're actually capturing all of this Medicaid income. And Callie had mentioned it would be a zero cost position, because if we are leaving Medicaid funding on the table, it's only because we have people working all day, every day with kids and doing the best they can to at least get us, and you can see significant 600,000 to $1.2 million over a 2-year period. This will enable us then to generate additional funding. So it really is a no cost position.
So then where could somebody find this position?
It would be posted on what was formerly called Teach Iowa, but is now called Iowa Works.
So do they need,
The state of Iowa.
so they don't need a nursing background, they just need to have administrative.
Right, an administrative support person, and that's fairly high up on the pay grade, because as Nurse Bethany explained it to me, they have to be able to ascertain specifics about doctor's care, scripts, orders. It's very, very specialized. And the confidentiality piece is key, but the level of specialization, I was very surprised at the link in my former position. We had to work through 2 or 3 different individuals before we could find someone who was able to work at this level of granularity and to do it accurately. So it's for someone who wants a challenge, and I'm very hopeful based on some of the initial conversations people have had with me that there may be folks on our staff right now that would be interested.
And for health services, our staffing right now, the way we are staffed is to meet IEP needs. It doesn't cover the Medicaid monster, I call it, but we do the best that we can, but right now directly we are staffed to meet those nursing services that are written in IEPs.
Does that mean you need more staff?
This would be an option. We could take the Medicaid. We're just taking baby steps, aren't we?
Yeah,
We have a lot of medical needs but it's wonderful. We love it. We enjoy it. But as nurses, we want to be,
Those are the whole population.
I want to be able to serve everybody, whether you have an IEP or not. If you have an ongoing health need, that student needs an individualized health plan. It doesn't matter, so, yeah.
and by taking this Medicaid monster, as we call it, off the shoulders of the nurses, we can free them up to do what they're designed to do.
And there's only 2 of us to do those things. And so utilize us for that skill set.
So would this person be at the district office with you guys or crossing between buildings?
We would propose this individual be at the high school. We have some office space here and could work closely. As you know, we have 2 RNs and 2 health associates. So there is a health professional in each of our 4 buildings, and then one that is accessible and able to go to Innovative Campus. While Nurse Bethany is the RN for the elementary schools, we have a new hire, Cindy Holland, that will be working at the secondary level. So in this facility, and could work closely with her.
This person wouldn't see students, they would just be doing the Medicaid.
Correct. Which frees up some of this bean counting so that
Yeah.
our health professionals can do their job.
More paid direct patient.
Yeah. We would still do, as nurses, the front end. We attend the IEPs, we determine, we partner with their special education teachers, because we know
Student contact.
exactly. We can continue to expand those services for our students.
And I'm just wondering if we want to make this position public, that for people that may not think to look on that teaching website for this kind of position. Like people might not associate it with like a teaching job.
Oh, I understand. So
They may not think
maybe
so.
something on our Facebook page or something like that.
To expand it maybe to our community who might not,
Excellent
who
suggestion.
might be coming from a medical background, but may not have like the thinking of it as a teaching job or a school job.
That's an excellent suggestion.
What do you need to get up to speed on electronic? billing.
Currently, right now, we do contract a third party to submit our claims. That is the only thing they do. So we scan in about 70 claims to them. They enter it into the database, pop it back. They just, this has been a vision of mine for the last couple of years. And talking to our Timberline rep is, maybe in January, we can start piloting it. They recommend the elementary schools are the easiest, and the electronic billing is free. It's through the company, it's through them. So we would talk about piloting at a building where staff are tech savvy. They wouldn't get overwhelmed right away. They're going to log in and document it on a computer. So that's the process we've been talking about. Maybe January PD, we can specifically look at elementaries. Now, Cindy Holland, our new nurse, she has done electronic billing before. At both of her schools before. So I have a feeling she's gonna be helping us kind of give us a little bit more of that oomph to do it.
And we did approve this position on the consent agenda.
Yep, and last year with the IEP system going from, I can't remember what to Achieve, we didn't want to hit our staff with 2 new databases. So our special ed teachers were scrambling to learn Achieve, and so now we were also trying to give them that grace.
What is that one?
Achieve, that's where they put the IEPs. Yeah, so.
Track of what they're supposed to be.
And
Yeah.
the AEA pushes that out for us, and they have for years. I think this might be the 3rd, maybe 4th iteration. AEA system has pushed out in the last 25, 30 years since they've gone to electronics. But this last one was a particularly steep climb from what I've heard.
Yeah, was a good learning curve. But we'll get there. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the policy reviews. So first we have policy employee, family and medical leave, 409.3. Along with that is employee, family and medical leave request form, 403.931, employee, family and medical leave regulation, legal regulation, and 409.3 R2, employee, family and medical leave definitions. Anybody have any comments or questions about any of these policies? Then we had the first half of the 200 series, which we talked about before, 201.1 to 209.7 series. The duties of the board. That's the first reading of those and a review process, correct, Ann? And now I just lost the meeting. That's great.
And of those, there was very, very minor changes, which you would have seen, maybe a typo or the insertion of a single word here and there. There were no substantive changes in those.
And then 505.06 early graduation. Can I talk about this for a minute? There were some in the policy from the state, there were some things in there that needed to be decided by the district, and Mr. Bliss had mentioned that he would like it to be tightened up a little bit to have whether they can, obviously they're not going to be able to participate in school activities and things like that. And then also an application for early graduation for the Charles City Community School District. So there's an application there, and then those would be approved and brought to the board and approved by us. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you that he did want that a little tighter than what it had been, so. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of those policies?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the first reading of the policy date.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second. Been moved and seconded to approve the first reading of policy 409.3, 409.3E1, 409.3E2, 409.3R1, 409.3R2, 201.1 through 209.7, and 505.06, early graduation. Any further discussion?
It's 200.1,
Oh, 200.1, did I say it wrong? Okay,
201.
okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. First reading passes. And then the next one is to approve the second reading of the policies that were presented at the July 10th, 2023 board meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of the policies presented at the July 10th, 2023 board meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the second reading of the policies presented at the July 10th, 2023 board meeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0. And this is the one, the 705.3 payments for goods and services that the recommendation is to waive the second reading. And when you open that up, the first thing that you see is our current policy.
That's correct, and you can see it's significantly different than the policy we are recommending. Callie can go into more detail as to why our current policy is problematic and why we are encouraging you to adopt 705.03 as per the IASB recommendation. Callie?
So I recommend the board sees the bills before we cut the checks. I was not okay with checks going out and the name of even seeing the check. So this way I would put a halt to the checks until the board approve them, and then it'll be twice a month. We will have a prepaid like for the refs, where people see that on both board meetings. That way that they are paid after the event is done. But that way we all are on the same page of what's going on and what's coming in and out.
And by doing it twice each month, the issue of late fees and some of that is no longer an issue. And then when you have questions, so as you review those bills ahead of time, you have questions, you just reach out via text or email to Callie and she can provide an explanation. Even as Josh did here tonight, he had a few questions and then she's able to locate that. What will happen then, that batch will then be pushed out right after this meeting. And so it's a very efficient way to get folks paid and a very transparent way, because all of this now is for everyone to be able to see. And I think the transparency, if I were to describe my hope for the next year, is to increase transparency. That's why we purchased the Assembly program. That's why Callie's making recommendations like this one tonight.
And most districts only do pay bills once a month. So we actually are ahead of the game price.
I make a motion that we approve the first and second reading for the policy 705.3 payments for goods and services as presented. Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the first and second reading of 705.3 payment of goods and services. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Okay. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Are there any board comments or anything? I guess I would just like to thank you, Callie, for the work that you've been doing and for getting us on the right track. Thank you for your dedication here that I've seen already. Anybody else? Thanks, Dana, for getting something new going. Okay. The meeting is adjourned at 7:27 p.m.